Welcome everyone to episode 21, the midsummer episode of the Unintentional Journeyman. It is mid-July right now, and I thought what I'd do with this episode, this really will be kind of the May, June, July episode, kind of an off-season episode, so if you like to watch the matches, there won't be any match today, and you can skip right ahead to the next episode. But in this episode, I thought I'd just kind of fill people in a little bit on what's happened at the end of the season and some of the things that have gone on over the course of the summer, because quite a bit has happened. I have a little bit of a talking list, probably make this about a 20-25 minute episode, just to bring people up to date with some of the things that have gone on at the club. And let's start with the end of the season, because when we last left the team, we had lost to, scrolling down here, lost to Welling, but Hemel Hempstead lost as well. And so, or whichever team was in 20th place, I kind of forget at the time, I'm sorry, lost as well. And that gave us enough points to go on and win. We did go on and lose our next two matches. We lost to Dartford 3-2 and then Gloucester 1-0. So after giving up 2 goals in something like 12 matches and only losing one of those 12 matches, I made that little tweak in the formation and then I set it back. But for somehow that kind of cascaded into 6 consecutive losses, which I'm a little bit at a loss to figure out how we can how that all happened there. And but you know, those things aside, and it feels a little bit awkward to back into the kind of staying up, but I'll take it after getting knocked out 2 years at the Vanarama regional level to take a club and make it all the way through and survive the relegation battle there for the first time in a while. That feels good. And I feel like we did improve a little bit. It was our highest point total. Although if we look at the table here, we can see that we did drop a place again. We were, I think, 16th, and we went to 17th after our game. We did drop one more place and end up in 18th place, so 2 points over the safe relegation zone. And I go back to that game where we won 1-0, and we had one shot, and we gave up 19 shots in that set piece. And I said, God, if we make it by 2 points, that might be something to look back on. So we would have, even had we been at 38 points, we would have had clubs on goal differential, even adding one less goal differential counting that goal that would maybe not have gone in. So all things considered, we would have stayed up anyway, but it wasn't that far that we ended up above the relegation zone. At one point, we were 11 points above 16th place, and we teetered our way down quickly. If we do look at goals for, we see the problem. We were 30 goals in 42 matches, 7 goals away from the second worst team. So just a pathetic offense, and that was what I was trying to fix when I switched that formation, but it just didn't work. So offensive woes by far. If we look at goals against, however, even considering we gave up quite a bit there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11th. So top half for goals against, only giving up 49 over the course of the year. And that was despite kind of a pretty torrid run early in the season where we gave up a lot of goals. We did, with our achievement, I got one of those in-game achievements, which was the overachiever. So that does make me feel pretty good that we were able to, for whatever reason, the league or the game recognized that was a tough situation, and we did by just kind of moving up from 21st to 18th and staying in there. We got that overachiever achievement, which was kind of nice to get. And considering we did only start with one player on our roster that we ended up playing pretty much for most of the year, Manuel, our right back. That was like, it feels pretty good to take a team like that. And we didn't have all that much money. We had about $4,000, I think, in wages to work with. Had no one really that we could pick up, and we're playing with the attribute masking on, so it's really hard for us to evaluate talent and bring people in. So I'm pretty happy on the whole with how the season went, and I'm really excited here for the off season. There's a bunch of things going on. One thing to note is that we are building a new stadium. So if we look at, here we go, facilities, our current capacity is 3,500, 585 seated. I got notification at the end of the year that we're going to build a new stadium because our current one built in 1959 is too old, and we are in the future stadium plans are down here, searching for a site, a planned capacity of 3,000. All 3,000 will be seated, so it is a full-blown stadium, not just a lower league stadium. I kind of wish they had more seats, because I feel like if we were to go up a league or two, we might need more than that. We might, if we have success, we might over. This might be too small pretty quickly, but that's nothing I can really do about that. Also, we are upgrading our youth facilities. If we look at the club here again, board, where is it? Yeah, improve youth facilities. We're currently at 0, and those are being improved. Those should be done in about another month or so. That would be helpful, because when we got our youth intake towards the spring there, they were awful. I didn't keep any of them. Every single one of them were absolutely terrible, and I think I think those two things, of course, are related. But so that was some good news: a new stadium and improved youth facilities. Also, our wage budget has been increased to £6,500 per week, and we are given still £55,000 in transfer funds. I've actually gone through about 5 or 6 of them in terms of purchasing players. So a little bit of an upgrade. Last year we were $5,300. The nice thing about this year, too, is that last year we had about 5,000. I think we had about 3,000 in wages that were already accounted for on players. This year, all of those dried up. We got rid of a good number of the players that were sucking up a lot of our funds. So we have pretty much all of that 6,500 to play with, as opposed to the 3,000 to 4,000 that we had to play with last year. So that's a significant difference. We can really start to reach for some higher wages now, and I can tweak this transfer budget. I could move this around here and go this way, get up to 7,500 if I wanted to kind of mess with the transfer budget. We don't want to do that yet, because I kind of am finding out there's some players we may want to pick up. But the summertime, quite a bit has happened. There's some player personnel to look at. What I'm trying to work out, and probably a good place to start with this, maybe the tactics. Last year, that run that went so well for us was really a 4-1-3-2 with this kind of like this, with three midfielders across. And playing in this role, the Carrilero role, worked really well defensively when we put both sides in that. But we just weren't getting bodies forward, and our outside backs don't really have good crossing capability. When I switched to try some overlaps, their performance just fell apart. So I can't really rely on the outside backs, but somehow we have to get bodies into the attack. So I'm looking at two things right now, and my first kind of inclination was to go with this, well, I kind of call it a 4-1-2-3, but the game calls it a 4-1-4-1, with all of these people considered to be, in the middle here, considered to be midfielders, central midfielders, with just the wings pushing up. But basically with one striker, an inside-outside wing, two outside wings, and 2 central midfielders, a defensive midfielder, and then a line of 4 across the back. So I've been trying to build this formation with acquiring players, and with basically almost, I could kind of clean house, and we've taken out a lot of our players. It wasn't really intentional, because I kind of wanted to keep our midfield, but as we'll see in a moment as we look at some key players, a lot of players got switched out. This is what I've been trying to build. The problem is I really can't find attacking midfielders on the right and left. I've got a couple of okay ones on the right, maybe one with the fatal flaw on the left, but I have been trying so hard to get outside wings at this level, whether it's loans, whether it's pillaging some of the players on other teams, whether it's unattached players, everything I've tried, and I just haven't been able to get someone in. To my failure, though, there was one player, this guy, I forget his name, Matt Young offhand, who I signed for. He's kind of expensive. He had a 7.0 rating last year and performed really well at left attacking mid. And at the last second, I panicked and I canceled his contract because it was just expensive and long. And now the guy won't talk to me, of course. And it's been, usually they come around after about a month, but now the guy won't, even though it's been a couple months, he says, I just don't want to play for your team. I'm done with you guys. So he's still unattached from my team. So still looking for an outside, in particular, an outside left wing to play out there. So if we don't have strong options there, what I'm leaning towards now is trying a 4-4-2 diamond. My concern is that because our outside backs aren't very good at pushing up and aren't very good at crossing, and I need to kind of leave them back to hold a defense together, that we're not really going to score. And that was kind of one of the problems we had with last year. But I'm going to try kind of a Mazzala roll on the right-hand side and then a Carrilero roll on the left side to see if that might help generate offense. And the other thing is that I'm pretty excited we have the players to play this now. I still don't know if why we were so bad offensively was that we had horrible strikers, or we had horrible tactics, or we just were concentrating too much on defense there when we had that run, which I was fine with. That was okay. I have a feeling, of course, it's a combination of both things, but we have some good players to share. So I thought I'd just finish this episode up. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do tactically. We're not done bringing players in, but I thought I would take a moment now, just 5 minutes or so, and highlight some of the key players that I think have come into the team. So we'll take a look at some of the new faces that I'm pretty excited about here. Probably the biggest thing to say, though, is that we have a lot of players now. These green players are on trial, but even with that, I think we have 33 players on the first team now, and I haven't looked at the transfers in here, but yeah, this is since June, so it's kind of cleaning house here. These players have been gone by June. We lost a few more out other than that, and there's a few more that I've just free released, and for whatever reason they don't show up here. So I have cleaned out some of the deadwood, but mostly picking up quite a number of players here. And maybe the easiest way to go through this is to kind of look at what we've got from a squad perspective here. And let's go into, and again, a lot of trial players in here, so that's nothing really to worry about. But here's our current starting 11. I did get Daniel Barden back, and I was pretty excited about that. 375 pounds a week, so 25 pound per week raise. Signed him for 2 years because I was just really happy with him, and it was kind of a tough negotiation, but we finally pushed it through. So that could lock up the goalkeeper position for the next couple of years. I think he should be able to. He's only 22 years old, so I'm pretty happy about that. I picked up a number of right backs. Manuel, nobody thinks this guy Manuel is any good, and they said that about him last year. He was our was he our captain last year, even though he had a rating of 9 or a vice captain or something like that? But he was the only player last year who I kept from the team and started and played a lot. And he was alternating at the end, but then he kind of won the starting job of. In 31 games, 31 appearances, 6.96 rating. So for a team that was kind of on the cusp of relegation, I think that's a really good year. And nobody really said good things about him, and yet he just kept performing. So I don't know. He's on kind of a non-contract right now, and he's kind of a fan favorite. So he may actually end up starting out here at right back. But for the moment, I did pick up big signing here. Danny Bailey. Hampton, we got him. Waterloo, is it Hampton Waterlooville, won the playoff battle and have got promoted to the Vanarama National League. And apparently they didn't really want to take this defender with them. So kind of forced our way in. We paid, I think, $5,000 and signed him to almost 600 pounds per week. A little bit of an overspend, but if I look at his stats last year, 45 appearances, over a 7 rating. I think this guy, and he's young, 20 years old, I think he can be just a wall in there. And I really wanted to bring in one upgraded center back. Shortly after that, this guy, Matt Bauer, for only 250 pounds a week, who's comparable in terms of stats and also played for Hampton Waterlooville, made himself available there. So 28 appearances, 7.02, 7.02 rating. So both of their center backs from the team that got promoted, we now have. Both of them young center backs with good numbers, just really solid all the way around. So pretty happy about that. In addition to that, I was also able to get, I'll go into this team report squad depth. That might be an easier way to see this. In addition to that, I was able to get Marcus Bassett back on loan, and Nathan Hayes, who also started last year. I signed him again. Very good upside for him, so I think he could go into the kind of U23s and play down there. And then the Jose Garrido, who I think also could be pretty good at center back. So we are just loaded at center back with a lot of good options there. Outside back, we got Mike Rhodes back on loan from Swindon, and he was, again, last year, if we look at his stats, a 6.94 rating, really good, so I'm happy about that. He'll be back. I think defensively we're looking pretty good. Most of our good players from last year, if not all, are back. I did not sign Balogun yet, although he has agreed to terms, and I may bring him in. So I'm waiting, just kind of thinking about whether we need another left back out there or not. David Martin signed now, and he signed for just 60 pounds a week. I think we were paying him 100 and something last year. A really good defensive midfielder last year, 6.96 rating and almost 30 appearances. Once he came in, he kind of just played there the whole time. So I'm really happy to have him back. So the whole defensive setup from last year is either back or I think pretty clearly upgraded here. Let me switch this up because these guys give a little different rating. Then at midfield, I thought we were back with the players we had at last year, which was Marcus Campbell. Really liked him. We had him on loan, and we were able to sign him this year for just 120 pounds per week. So pretty happy about that as a central midfielder. And then also we have Christian Ngessen, who started last year and did a pretty good job out there. He's back. So I was pretty happy with both of them. And Burgess, another midfielder from last year who was pretty good. I was pretty happy there. I said, okay, we're set at midfield. And then just a little while after that, this guy, Ewan Murray, became available. And as kind of an advanced playmaker, as a central midfielder, really good numbers all around. And everybody seems to like him, gets a much higher rating. Signed him for 2 years, which I realize is a little risky, but he comes in valued at £13,500, which I think is our highest rated player. Everybody seems to really like him, and experience-wise, 6.86 last year for Chester. So a little bit low, but numbers look really good. And again, he is really young, just 22 years old. So I'm hopeful that he can play there. The other thing is that he can play as attacking midfielder in that advanced playmaker role. So if we do that 4-4-2 diamond, I can stick him up top and see how he does. He is short on natural fitness and strength, which is a little bit of a concern, but everything else looking pretty good. I mean, just for the level I've got it set at, almost everything is green. And hopefully these numbers, maybe natural fitness, I don't know if that can change or not. But agility, certainly, maybe stamina and strength can go up a little bit. But he's very determined as well. So I'm pretty excited about him coming in. And then just a little while ago, we brought a couple of guys in on loan. This guy, Zach Brunt, who they say is, coaches say is really fantastic. A level above our Campbell and Ngessen. So looking pretty happy about him. I think he could play that Mazzala role on the right-hand side. Good speed, not the greatest stamina, but we're pretty deep at midfield anyway. And then one more guy, Tim Breach, who we brought in on loan from Coventry. Looks like he can play a Carrilero role on the outside. Really good physicals, decent mentals, pretty decent technicals. Just looks really good. High stamina, high work rate, high determination. So pretty happy to get him in on loan too. So in just the last week, we've upgraded our midfield significantly. And perhaps the best news of all in terms of big signing, I mean, I didn't really want to keep any of our strikers. I think the only one, Leighton's here, but he's on non-contract. Jay Bird's here, but he's on non-contract. Ozono's here, but he's on non-contract. All these guys, will probably let them go before long, as I got to clear out some space here. Harvey Turner has high potential. He was terrible last year too, because kind of selfish, low teamwork. I mean, teamwork a 2, passing a 6, and he's a pressing forward, so he kind of needs that. You know, you got to work with people instead of just, it's not all about you. I mean, other physical numbers are great, but he just never did anything. I wasn't really happy with what he did. So he's still around. But in terms of good players, this guy just showed up right at the end of the season. Matt Lambius. And he was with Brighton in, I think they're in the Championship League in this alternate reality. Best at a pressing forward, but even at advanced forward, numbers are really, really good. I mean, no real weaknesses here. I'm crossing, I get, but as a striker, really, okay. So just good physicals, good mentals. Was at a higher level. Didn't really play ever. He hasn't been in a game in a live match in 3 years here, or 2 years or so. The reason he was listed for us last year is he came in before the season ended. He just kind of showed up, put him on a trial, and look at this. He signed for £250 per week. That's just insanely cheap for this guy. I mean, 4-star current ability, and it looks legit. Everybody likes him. I mean, he's very one-footed, so I might need to play him on a particular side there. But really happy with him. And then this guy, Josh Kelly, I tried to sign him a couple times last year, and he just wouldn't. He played for Maidenhead last year. 25 appearances, 8 goals, but I think it's more like 16 starts in the Vanarama South when he got 8 goals. So 6.94 rating, he got a couple of assists, 3 assists there too. But his league appearances were less in goals, and that's kind of what I was looking at. So looks like he's scoring about a goal every 2 games at the Vanarama regional level. And he signed for us for £275 a week. Pretty good numbers as an advanced forward. Again, not quite the mental level that Lambius has, but good physicals and all around. Passing isn't great, but teamwork's not great. But he was a very effective forward last year for Maidenhead, and so I'm hopeful that he can be kind of a second forward. I still might try to find someone else. I've got a couple other guys in here. that may end up getting some time. I think we're waiting for them to come in, and I might look for one more player just to get some more depth up at striker, especially if we go with a 4-4-2 diamond, where we'll need two people up top. And the reason I only had a couple right now is I was pretty locked on to that 4-1-4-1, where we'd be using outside wings. And because we really haven't been able to find some outside wings, maybe I need some more depth now at striker. But that's kind of where we are. It's the July 19th. We've played a couple of friendlies so far against lower teams. This is last year's results. Let's go to this year. Played a couple of friendlies against quite lower level teams and didn't really look that good. We should probably be beating these teams by a little bit more. But I think Lambias has scored a couple of goals. Teams look pretty good. The midfielders look pretty good. Trying to work together with each other. It's nice to get players in early in July too, to get them in friendlies, because last year I think we didn't really start getting players in until the end of August or so, and that really kind of screwed things up, because we only got 3 points in our first 10 games. And so things, I think, bode pretty well for the season. I don't have a lot of faith that we found a tactical solution for the type of players we have, and I don't think we have a complete setup yet. But based on the talent that we've got on the team, and get this, the media prediction for us right now, I kind of wonder about this. I've got a thought on it that I'll share here. The media, what's that? Oh, that was last year. I wonder why I can't predict the past. That would be pretty easy to predict the past. Media prediction here has us in 5th. Media prediction, 5th place. So we're predicted to finish 5th. The board wants us to fight for to not get relegated. When I had a team meeting, I said, let's not get relegated, but the players said we can do better than that. And so we're aiming for the players want to aim for a mid-table. The press has us in 5th place. But I wonder, one of the things I was noticing, I wonder if that's just because we have so many players on board right now. Because when you look at staff, they give us really good ratings for staff. But I think it's just because we have more than everybody else. And the same thing with scouts. I've got 3 scouts in now, and they rank us number 1. But I think that's because we have 3 scouts, not so much that our average is better than everybody else. Maybe it's cumulative. And so I wonder if they do that with squads too, if they just kind of look at all these players that we have and all of a sudden they say, wow, these guys are going to be amazing, even though to a certain degree we've only got, I guess we do have 4 or 5 players now that are with both Breach and Brunt in there. Wow, we might be okay here. Because Barden was a 4-star goalkeeper. Lambias is a 4-star striker. And again, I don't put much stock in stars, but they are roughly, I guess. And we have our 2 central defensive central center backs are better. Brunt and Breach, our midfielders are better. Murray, our 3 midfielders are better now. Yeah, maybe we're going to be okay. Be kind of interesting. It'd be nice not to be in a relegation battle and just looking down behind us at the table and seeing only 3 or 4 teams there again. But that's pretty much it for the midsummer episode here. I'm trying to look to see if there's anything else that I wanted to mention that I haven't, but I think I've covered all the things on my little my list of notes here. And hopefully this episode is somewhat interesting, taking a look at the team in the midsummer. Plans going forward, I'll be back for our match of the month. Will be in August. We will come back for the Woking match. And I don't know, I wonder where they're predicted to finish here. Let's take a look, see how interesting. I'm going to come back for the first one anyway, but kind of curious to see what the media prediction. Oh, so they're predicted first. Okay. So Woking against us. We're predicted 5th. They're predicted first. I think this is way overstating our ability, and I don't think by any means we're going to have our tactics down pat. So I do think that's going to be a really tough match for us. But certainly will be interesting to look at, playing the predicted number 1 team on the road to start off the season. So that most definitely will be our opening match of the month. So we'll be back for episode 22 against Woking. And as always, thanks for coming by. Let me know if you enjoy this type of episode. I'm not sure if ones without matches are interesting, but I thought it's good in the summer to have one episode to just kind of give some background and share some of the happenings that have gone on at the team, some of the signings, take a little deeper look at some of the players and things like that. even though there's really no games going on. I don't really want to play a friendly and show a friendly. They're kind of mixing players in and out, and they're a little bit ugly and stuff like that, and probably not all that interesting. But with that all said, we'll see you back in August for our season opener, season 2, with Hampton and Richmond. So excited to be at the same team 2 years in a row. And hopefully we won't be in a relegation battle here. I personally would like to see us get, if we were 15th and above, I'd be pretty happy. I think we're going to struggle tactically, and I'm not sure that we can make a 4-4-2 diamond work, and I'm not sure we have the outside wings to make a 4-1-4-1 work. So I think we've got some flaws with the team right now. But still, I'm looking for outside wings, and maybe we can figure something out with the 4-4-2 diamond if we play some of those central midfielders in wider roles. So, kind of some big question marks. But talent-wise, we're certainly better. It's been really nice to play around with the team for a couple of months here and be able to clean out some of the dead wood, have a little bit more money in. Our stadium's getting upgraded. It's kind of where we were. I think back to, I think it was January, February, where the board had called me in and said, why should we keep you? You're going to get fired. We're definitely in a different place than we were right then. That darkest moment when we needed to either draw or win against Hemel Hempstead, I think it was. That was mid-season. What day was that? Oh, no, it wasn't October. It was January 10th, right after New Year's. Like, Happy New Year, and then on the 4th or something like that, they called me in and said, you're not doing very well. We want to fire you. And I begged for one more month, and then the news said, if you don't win this match, if you don't get a result in this match, you're gone. And we got a 0-0 draw, and that started the run. We had a win, loss. I mean, our defense went crazy over those next 12 matches, giving up 2 goals. We got enough points, and we stayed up. So kind of pivotal moment, and you wonder, would history be different had we lost that Hemel Hempstead match? Would I have gotten sacked and be with a completely different team and starting a new relegation battle now? But we'll never know, will we? Those are the vagaries of the life as a football manager. But anyway, that's enough of me rambling. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day. Enjoy Football Manager, and we'll see you back for the season opener against predicted first place Woking. So excited. Take care, everybody.